Last week, we talked about the nonsense we've normalized, the marketing illusions, the fake perfection, the curated chaos that somehow passes for reality. But there's another illusion we don't talk about enough, and it's one we participate in every single day, the highlight reel. Today, we're pulling back that curtain. Because the most dangerous illusion isn't the one on the billboard. It's the one in your feed. Hi, everyone. I'm Shauna Gabriel, and this is the Flavored Word Podcast. Welcome. So today we're talking about highlight reels. We fracture our self-worth by measuring our internal chaos, the unwashed dishes, the messy emotions, the days when we're barely holding it together and still rocking yesterday's messy bun, which I rock every day but today, oddly. We have curated this facade that doesn't represent reality. We scroll past her perfect kitchen, her perfect skin, perfect morning routine, her perfect family photo where everyone is smiling like they've never once argued about who left the milk out, let alone anything else. We start to realize that we're grading ourselves against a performance, a filtered myth, a carefully lit, strategically cropped illusion. And here's the part that gets me. We know it's fake. We know it's curated. We know it's edited, but it still chips away at us. We still let it whisper, "You're behind. You're not enough. You should look like that. You should live like that. You should be doing more." And a little sidebar here. I mentioned last week that I'm building a future episode around the queen bee phenomena and why it's so difficult for many women to support other women. If you're interested in being a part of an discussion on that topic, or maybe know someone else who might be interested, please send me an email, press@shaunagabriel.com. That's press@shaunagabriel.com, and we'll be in touch. Sidebar over. Moving on. So I wrote an article once on camera cuisine all about how people strive for the perfect food shot. You know exactly what I mean. We've all done it. How no one wants to buy the bruised apple, how the imperfect tomato gets left behind because it doesn't photograph well. But it goes beyond produce. We do it to ourselves. We filter our faces. We crop our lives. We hide the bruises, emotional and otherwise, because we've been taught that only the glossy parts are worth showing. But here's the truth. The bruised apple still tastes good. The imperfect tomato still nourishes you. And your unedited life, the messy, complicated, beautiful parts, it's still worthy. We need to dismantle the myth that filtered perfection represents reality, because those false benchmarks don't just make us feel inadequate. They fuel resentment. They widen the gap between who we are and who we think we're supposed to be. And reclaiming our narrative, pulling it back from the performance of others, is how we bridge that gap. It's how we remember that the raw, unedited beauty of existence is not only enough, it's kind of the point. So here's the thing, though. This isn't new. We've known this for decades, that the pages of our favorite magazines are filled with photoshopped images. I remember hearing that when I was a teenager. Adults, they'd say it like it was a warning. Don't compare yourself to the models in those ads. They don't even look like that. I understood it, intellectually at least, but it didn't stop me from wanting to look like the photoshopped version. Because even when you know something is edited, it's been retouched, softened, brightened, reshaped, and filtered within an inch of its life, the image still lands. It still imprints, and it still whispers, this is a standard. We grew up with that. We absorbed it. We internalized it. So, of course, we're struggling now in a world where the editing isn't just on magazine covers. It's in our everyday feed in our stories, every candid moment that took 47 tries. Technology's gotten better, filters have gotten better. And that's why comparing our real lives to someone else's highlight reel feels so brutal, because we've been conditioned since adolescence to believe the real one is the problem. And here's where things get messy and honestly a little unfair. In real life, our brains don't treat every image as absolute truth. We filter things based on attention, memory, experience, mood, whatever kind of day we're having. We're built to interpret, not just absorb. But in 2026, we are swimming in short form video, algorithmically curated, AI enhanced, emotionally charged visuals hitting us in rapid fire succession. It's like a conveyor belt of here's what's desirable, here's what's beautiful, here's what you should want. And our brains, they love it. Enter dopamine. Short, visually striking clips. The perfect skin, the perfect home, the perfect body, the perfect life. They all create this self-reinforcing loop. Dopamine surge, more viewing, more idealized imagery, more dopamine, rinse and repeat. And before you quietly reset your baseline for beauty, success, desirability, it's not based on reality, but on whatever the machine decided to show you today. And now we've added AI enhanced aesthetics on top of that. Filters, retouching, smoothing, sharpening, whole digital glam squad. Think about the enhancement you use for photos, not just for the bruised apples, but for you. I'll admit it early on, and let's be honest, it's still early on in my podcasting life. I hit the make eye contact button because I thought I needed to. I thought it made me look more polished, more connected, more podcasty. As it turns out, that video, episode 10, I look like one of those lizard people, the ones all the conspiracy theorists think landed here forever ago and are just waiting to take over the earth. That's what AI decided my eyes should look like. And that's the problem. We're comparing ourselves to imagery that isn't just curated, it's manufactured. It isn't attainable. But our brains don't care. Dopamine doesn't care. The algorithm definitely doesn't care. So we end up chasing an impossible baseline, one we didn't choose, one we didn't consent to, and one that has nothing to do with the raw, unfiltered beauty of actual existence. At some point, though, it stops being just admiration when it goes from, oh, that's beautiful, to why I don't look like that, or why is her life so put together when mine feels like a tornado in a laundry basket. And that shift isn't just emotional, it's biological. We're wired with a fear of exclusion, a primal little alarm system that says, if you fall behind the group, you're in danger. When we see someone's curated perfection, our brain doesn't just admire it, it thinks it's a standard. This vulnerability we all have for mistaking a 15-second, ultra-polished clip for a 24-hour lifestyle. We see the highlight reel and assume it's the whole story, but it's not. It never is. And still, we allow it to create this huge invisible tax on our mental energy, the exhaustion of maintaining our own digital facade, the heaviness of feeling behind in life because someone else's feed looks like a magazine spread, the quiet panic of thinking everyone else has figured out something we haven't. So a few episodes back, I talked about a woman I saw on Instagram. I don't know her name. Even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. But she was all about how, the best way to create content these days. And she named a particular app, and she gives it one picture of herself, a still picture, and it will create a month's worth of content for her in different outfits, different hairdos, different scenes, sipping coffee on a soft street, blah, blah, blah. And she goes on to tell people that if you want to do this, and you should, to DM her, and she'll spill the beans. She'll give you all the secrets and how you can create the same thing. Fortunately, most people responded with a kind of, "Are you kidding me? This is so fake. This is so stupid. What's the point?" But of course, she still got a lot of people asking, how, I want to do this. What is that? It is so incredibly stupid. And that's what I said. I commented and said, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I don't think I use the word ridiculous, but I think that was my moment of kind of, gosh, has she discovered something I haven't yet? Should I be doing that? Sometimes, of course, it goes even further into, well, there's passive resentment, not loud, dramatic, but subtle. We find ourselves almost irritated with our friends and other creators because they post perfect morning routines. It makes you feel like you're failing at reality. It's not jealousy, it's depletion. It's the emotional cost of constantly comparing our unedited lives to someone else's, like the woman I mentioned. And the worst part, most of the people we compare ourselves to, they're not bypassing hardship. They're bypassing not showing it. We're not seeing the mess. We're not seeing their fear. We're not seeing the exhaustion. We don't see the bruised apples on her kitchen countertop. We see the version they decided was worth posting. And then we punish ourselves for not living up to a life that doesn't even exist. So how do we stop this? How do we stop mistaking a highlight reel for real life? There are clues. There are tiny little scenes that if you can kind of look into them, the illusion will lose its power. 3 simple, actionable ways to do that. First, look at the lighting. If the lighting looks impossibly soft, impossible warm, impossibly flattering, it probably is. Ring lights, bounce boards, diffusers, filters. Once you start noticing the lighting, you stop assuming the person looks like that at 7 a.m. I had someone make a comment about the light on my glasses, how it reflects, because I look up and it reflects when I'm recording, and I become so incredibly, conscientious of that. And I'm sorry, I don't have a professional studio. This is my little office. If I knew how to turn the camera, my Peloton's over there. I've got a closet over here full of clothes for winter. Of course, I live in the South, so I rarely need to get into that closet. I got a huge window there. The lighting isn't great. I don't know what to tell you. I'm gonna look up and the light from up above is gonna reflect off my glasses sometimes. It is what it is. So, number 2, notice the staging. Every effortless moment online is staged. The clean counter, the perfect angle, the strategically placed coffee mug, camera cuisine, but for people. We reject bruised apples. We reject unpolished moments because they don't photograph well. Listen, I get it. I've caught myself getting mad at my husband because he leaves something on the counter and it ends up in what would have been the perfect post. Bottom line, if the scene looks too perfect, it was curated. And if it looks candid, it might have taken 47 tries. Last tip, question the continuity. A 15-second clip is not a 24-hour lifestyle. It's a highlight, a performance, a moment chosen specifically because it looks good. Ask yourself, what happened 5 minutes ago before this? What happened minutes after? What's outside the frame? What's not being shown? That tiny bit of curiosity breaks the spell. It reminds you that you're seeing a slice, not the whole cake. And hopefully you'll be able to remind yourself that real life isn't filtered. It isn't staged. It's not a highlight reel. Real life is messy kitchens, bruised apples, and imperfect mornings. So my encouragement, maybe a little bit of a challenge, log off, step away from the feed, put the highlight reel down, and invest in the raw, unpolished reality that actually sustains you. There are plenty of Instagram profiles out there where people are doing just that. They are being real. Watch some more of those. Invest in raw, unpolished reality. And that's all I've got for today. So thanks for listening. Tune in next week for a follow-up to episode 13 when we talked about women supporting other women. In next Wednesday's episode, we'll deconstruct the mean girl archetype that exists in adult friendships and in professional spaces. So be sure to subscribe so you get all the fresh content and the snark before everyone else. And hey, if you're enjoying listening and I made you think about something, pass this on to one of your friends. And if you want to be a part of that future on-air discussion, don't forget to send me an email. Remember, this isn't a scrapbook. It's unfiltered talk with reflection on my glasses too. So have a great week, everybody.